Hello everyone and welcome to the video. Given the decent viewing figures I had on my last video doing a topic I do enjoy, my prediction about who would win the 2024 US election, that's a good vid, I think. It's worth watching, so I'll put a link to that in the description. But I thought I'd do another video today regarding what would actually happen if in the US election both Trump and Biden get 269 electoral votes each, and essentially the election's initially a tie. It's never happened in the history of elections in America before. The American system is very odd. I'll run through it very briefly for those not aware, but I thought this would be an interesting topic to discuss what would actually happen if this did occur. Before moving on, if you do enjoy this video and if you do like this sort of stuff, please do consider subscribing to the channel. It really does help boost small channels such as myself, and it's really appreciated. And if you do like British humour, maybe watch the last video. I think some Americans just don't get British sarcasm and British wit as much. So if you fancy that, give that a watch. Dependent on your political views, do take it with a pinch of salt. Some of the comments, it's all meant in good fun. But anyway, so like my last video, I'm going to set out very quickly, or as quick as I can, the safe blue and the safe red states to go to Biden and Trump, respectively. So let's go through it. I won't do it alphabetical order this time. I'm just going to go from left to right. So your safe Democrats, safe Biden states are Washington, Oregon, California with its huge 54 points, Hawaii, uh, New Mexico and Colorado. Then we've got the next one's Illinois. Democrats tend to be on the west and east coast, so let's carry on. Then we've got Virginia, become more of a safe blue state in recent years. It always used to be more of a Republican leaning state, but that's changed. Then you've got New York, Vermont, all these lot. DC, Massachusetts, Delaware, New Jersey, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Maryland, for the purpose of this, I'm going to give New Hampshire and Maine to the Democrats as well, like I did in my last vid. But I may speak about Maine a little more shortly. I think that's all the safe blue ones. Oh no, excuse me, Miss Minnesota. Okay, and then safe red ones are Arkansas, Utah, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, North and South Dakota. Nebraska, again, I might speak about that in a minute. Kansas, or I will be speaking about it. Oklahoma, Iowa, Texas, don't know why I missed Texas out there. Montana, huge state, Texas, for the Republicans. Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, and Ohio are two safe Republicans, despite previously being real toss ups that Republicans couldn't win elections without winning these two states. But in recent years, with DeSantis and things changing in Ohio, they're becoming more safe Trump states. Tennessee, South Carolina, North Carolina, Indiana, West Virginia, Kentucky. And that leaves our six states. So if you watch my last video, this is where I got to initially. Now, there's at least two scenarios I'm going to present here where both the Democrats and Republicans, Biden and Trump, can have 269 votes each. So the first scenario is if Biden was to hold the following states, and that's Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. I know he's at 270, but bear with me, I'll come to that in a sec. And Trump was to get Nevada, flip Nevada, because he's not won it in 2016 or 2020. And if Trump was to win back Arizona and Georgia. So at the moment, in this scenario, Biden still wins just. But I did say in my last video that the district points in Maine and Nebraska are kind of irrelevant. And I do think that will be the case if, based on my last prediction in my last video, I do think Trump's going to win. But let's talk about this scenario. So last time in 2020, Maine's second district vote went to Trump, and Nebraska's second district vote went to Biden. So they cancelled each other out, and we're still at 270, 268. Now, this could quite easily change, particularly in Nebraska, because there's a lot of talk of the GOP trying to change the voting system this year to try and just make all 5 points in Nebraska go to the winner. If that was to happen, Trump would definitely get Nebraska. It's more of a safe Republican state. But in either scenario, you could have Trump win all 5 points, all five votes, and it's a draw, or you could also have Trump winning perhaps another one of Maine's votes. So that's one scenario where we could have 269 apiece. So this is back to where we started. Now, in the second scenario, if Biden was to hold Arizona and Georgia, the two southern states, I think he will lose. But let's just say for the purpose of this, he wins them. He keeps Nevada. There's murmurs of Trump doing well in Nevada with recent polls, despite the fact he's not won it in 2016 or 2020. And if Biden also wins Wisconsin, leaves him on 269 with 34 points remaining. You can see where this is going. And Trump did manage to flip Pennsylvania and Michigan. Again, in this second scenario, you've got 269 to 269. There may be more scenarios, depending on how you think the states are going to go, but that's just a couple that I've had a look at and thought of, which could be how the election goes. Again, these district points in this scenario would be huge. If Biden held on to all four in Maine, or if Trump got all five in Nebraska, it could literally decide the election. Now, no American election has ever been a draw. It's highly unlikely. Everything, literally everything, including these district points, has to fall into place in a certain way. But if this was to actually happen, what would then happen next is that the House of Representatives voters, the delegations, with each state having one vote, so even huge states like California with 54 points and Wyoming with three or Utah with six, they each only have one vote. So it completely, what's the word I'm looking for? It just equals it out. So your states with huge populations like California and Texas have as much or as little influence, the same as New Mexico, Colorado, Iowa, for example, or Vermont. Now, with each state delegation having only one vote each, you need to win 26 states, 26 votes to win the election and to elect the president. Now, as you can see here, this is from the same website, 270 to Win. It's a really good website. Currently, the Republicans have a lead in the House of Representatives with the House delegations by 26 to 22. Minnesota and North Carolina are deadlocked. There's no more Republicans or no more Democrats. They've got an equal number of members along party lines. So those two are unlikely to vote for either candidate. So the Republicans do have a lead. Even if both went for Joe Biden in this instance, they'd only have 24. So at the moment, Trump's got the advantage. But as you can see here, it's the members of Congress elected in November 2024, election month, and seated in January 25 that would take on the responsibility. So that could change. But as of right now, the Republicans have the advantage. There are, it could be 25-25, and there are additional scenarios about what would actually happen if this took place. You could go into all sorts of different directions. So I'll leave it there for today. I do think that's really interesting. There's also a scenario that if it's 269-269, the House of Representatives Congress vote for the president, but the Senate, which has more Democrats than Republicans, elects the vice president. So you might have a Trump president and Kamala Harris vice president scenario, which would just be can't see how that would work, put it that way. But yeah, the American electoral system's strange. If it was a tie, for me, the simplest way to split it or determine it rather would just be the popular vote. I get why each state has a certain number of votes, points, whatever you want to call it, based on their populations, and it does mean that the more highly populated urban areas in states such as Texas and California don't and New York don't dominate the more sparsely populated rural areas such as, your center of the country, your Kansases, your Oklahomas. But if it was 269-269, I think a very simple way to determine who should win would just be the popular vote. But that's just my opinion, guys. What do you lot think? What do you think of this video? Is there any other videos on US elections or particular states you'd be interested in that I could take a look at? Please let me know your thoughts in the comments. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Many thanks. Bye.